r/Ask Me Anything by Redmond Etes. I'm a psychopath. Ask me anything. I'm someone living with antisocial personality disorder and psychopathy. I'm what you might describe as a high-functioning psychopath. Ask me anything. So, in order to be diagnosed with ASPD, as I'm sure you know, you need to show 3+ behaviors of disregard for others or society and its laws. Where does that show up for you in your life? You actually need conduct disorder to be diagnosed with ASPD, which is a childhood disorder. That's not to say you had to have been caught and diagnosed during childhood, but that there is a clear pattern of antisocial behavior. To answer your question, I started stealing and lying a lot as early as 8 years old, which is as far back as I can remember. I'd also tortured cats and dogs, bully children, vandalize property, set things on fire, sexually active as early as 12, defrauded tens of thousands in high school. The list goes on. Yes, I know that's one of the requirements. Has to be over 18, must be showing symptoms before 15, what I mentioned, as well as not having cookering disorders that can be responsible, such as bipolar with psychotic features. I'm probably going to have a lot of questions if that's okay lol. I've written papers on ASPD for school, but that's obviously a lot different than getting first-hand experience. Did you have a traumatic childhood? No, I wouldn't describe my childhood as traumatic. I grew up poor, but overall pretty stable, supportive and loving home. That's interesting. It definitely supports the nature and the nature versus nurture theory. Have you ever been obsessed with someone? Also, I also saw you are married. Do you love your wife? If so, what made you love her when you have a general disdain for others? I don't believe I've ever been obsessed with someone. How would you define love? If we are talking about some level of attachment and affection, then sure. I was drawn to my wife because I found her physically attractive and wanted a sexual relationship. She is also a working professional and saw the benefit in a relationship. We also have shared similar interests and get along well, so over time I came to care for her beyond just a physical attraction and status. Is there anything people noticed about you before your diagnosis? I'm callous, disagreeable, and often antagonistic. When I was younger, I'd speak my mind with little regard for people's feeling. I've been called an asshole on more than one occasion, but nobody has used labels like psychopath. Have you ever been in a relationship? How did that go? I dated throughout my 20s. A lot of short-term relationships and flings. I've had a few long-term relationships before getting married, which is going well. What would you consider as well? I would think someone with ASPD wouldn't be able to have very many stable relationships, let alone being married. I hope that doesn't come off as rude, I'm just a bit confused. Is it difficult for you to express emotions towards your significant other? No two people are the same. It's important to recognize that ASPD is a construct, where people are categorized based on a pattern of certain personality traits. The thing is that there's a constellation of personality traits and characteristics, which all operate on a continuum. People with ASPD can have differing profiles. One might be aggressive, impulsive, low intellect, and may end up killing someone in a bar fight because they have no control. Do you think all people living with ASDP are unhinged and violent? It's entirely possible to have ASPD and be high in conscientiousness and intelligence, and therefore have the impulse control to inhibit antisocial behavior. It's possible to negotiate behavior, to understand and compromise. My relationship is well in the sense that we are both open. We have learned to communicate needs. I am capable of showing affection. I am also capable of reading people and being supportive, etc. Do you think you could handle living with a borderline? I don't think I'd be able to recognize borderline if it was walking down the street. But based on a basic understanding of some characteristics, I probably wouldn't have the patience, especially if they exhibited very needy behavior. I'm also a psychopath and I haven't managed to find anything that has legitimately helped. Do you struggle with compulsive lying? I'm deceitful but wouldn't call myself a compulsive liar. I've misled and lied to women for sex, for example. But I don't really see the point of lying without reason. I know a lot of psychopaths are associated with being serial killers or murderers. You said in a previous comment that you used to torture animals. Do you see yourself as capable or desiring to commit murder? Becoming a serial killer is a low probability event, even for a psychopath. Am I capable of killing someone? Yes. But I don't have any desire to murder. In fact, I'm not a violent person. What caused you to seek out a diagnosis? I started watching videos on the prison system. That led me down a rabbit hole, including the constructs like ASPD and psychopathy. I'd watch these videos and it occurred to me, this is me. I was in my early 30s at the time. I'd never really considered myself to have an issue. I looked up some mental health clinicians, largely out of curiosity. Had some ongoing dialogue with one for a little while, but stopped going because it wasn't productive. What's the most fucked up thing you have done purposely and in secret? I've committed crime and done a number of morally reprehensible things, and I've never been caught or exposed. As far as my parents are concerned, I was a relatively well-behaved kid, and there's a lot of things I've never shared with anybody. Something I'm sure people would find troubling. When I was 12, I met a girl that was a year younger than me at the library. I'd spend time on the computer there. For whatever reason, they added me on MSN Instant Messenger. We got to talking and got her to hang out at the park with me. One day I pulled my pants down and told her to perform oral. It escalated into intercourse. Back in the mid-2000s, I had a number of internet schemes to defraud people, where I made close to 100 grand. I also managed to rip off eBay and PayPal a lot of money too. I never got caught. I'd put a rope around my dog's neck, suspend it in the air through a pulley system and watch it struggle. With some cats, I'd put them in cages, place it in the tub, and watch as the water slowly submerged them. Follow-up question. Is there any guilt? I've never felt guilt or remorse for any of my actions. It wasn't until much later in life that I even reflected on my behavior. When I was around 13, I pushed a baby to the floor for my amusement. He wasn't seriously hurt, and it didn't merit any reflection or second thought. Hello. Have you mimicked other people's reactions to situations so that you would be able to express appropriate emotions to that situation? Such as empathy, compassion, affection, etc. I've been observing and replicating behavior my entire life. I manipulate people all the time by telling them what they want to hear, treating them how they want to be treated, and using various strategies to appear warm and genuine. I've been told I should be a comedian, that I'm a captivating public speaker, and whatnot. I've had someone offer to pay for me to go to seminary. I've talked my way into women's pants. I have no problem blending in, presenting as empathetic, compassionate, affectionate. I'll put on an act to get what I want. Does anyone know, or recognize, that you are? Would you be able to recognize another psychopath? Very few people know what I am. There is no way to spot a psychopath. A psychopath might assist an elderly lady with crossing the street, pick up the tab on a group dinner, and even enjoy high occupational status, such as being a doctor. Unless you get to know someone, there'd be no way of telling. I'd be suspicious of strangers with glib charm. There's a good chance they've been manipulating people their entire lives. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening.